Social media has gone into overdrive, pointing the finger at big US hedge funds and trading funds for causing the collapse owing to the billions involved in trades that went down. Some of the leading US investment firms include BlackRock and Citadel Securities, but of course they were quick to deny any involvement. Yet Lisa Wade, the CEO of blockchain company Digital X, said while it was too early to say if the momentum for the crash was created by collusion, it appeared to be exploitive. Conspiracy theorists would say yes, because it's a massive trade. I mean, in all of my career, it's one of the biggest trades I had ever seen. It's almost like an evil genius plot because there are a lot of steps to it. She describes the plot as complex, involving purchasing 1 billion worth of Terra, betting on the price of Bitcoin falling in a move called shorting, as well as looking at the timing when fewer eyes were on the market. All statements are very true. Lisa knew what she was talking about. But she states Saturday night, their target as it was when trading volumes were low. She explained in basic terms, it saw Terra being sold off in massive volumes, which then triggered a feeding frenzy of more sell-offs that broke the stablecoin system and also rolled into other cryptos, with the likes of Bitcoin also being offloaded. Luna was impacted because its underlying backer, the US Terra, because of the US Terra. So every time a UST token is bought, a Luna token is burnt, which means there is less tokens in supply, so the Luna price goes up. Now, let me stop right here and let's talk about the massive inflation. All right. After everything that we've learned, after everything that we've seen, guys, when they massively ran up the token supply, they did this in order to pay back all of that money. Okay. And they're doing it using the native US Terra Luna token system. They had to pay back all that money. So if you want pure evidence of some nefarious activity, it's in the token supply. This money is going to come back, and it's going to come back through the same mechanisms where it was all lost in the beginning. Guys, of course, we got to go deeper and all of this information down in the episode guide. But the response to this has been immediate. And one of the biggest responses, and I tweeted this out earlier, but one of the biggest responses is coming from South Korean authorities to cite the Luna debacle to call for speedier crypto oversight. Now, really simply put, the Luna debacle will likely speed up the enactment of virtual currency regulations in South Korea. South Korea's upcoming Digital Asset Basic Act is slated to be legislated in 2023 and go into effect by 2024. Very crucial dates right there. 2023, we already know. By that time, South Korean banks will surely be on the ISO standard, and they're looking to have it go into effect by 2024. That's the Bitcoin halving. Now, while details of the legislation have not been officially revealed, it is likely will be geared towards protecting investors, local media reported. The Financial Services Commission and Financial Supervisory Service, the two regulatory bodies in charge of digital assets, will likely raise awareness amongst digital asset investors following the Luna meltdown. Currently, the South Korean government has no legal basis to take direct measures to examine or supervise the Terra platform, as existing laws are only geared towards anti-money laundering issues. They just haven't read the blockchain data yet. But on Monday, South Korea's National Police Agency revealed it is closely monitoring the Luna situation, but currently has no plan to investigate Terraform Labs. Just like the SEC said, it's like, we know what they did, but, you know, we'll look at it. Maybe, probably, I don't know. But they added that no civil complaints have been filed against Do Kwon when asked about the news. Now, this is a little bit after the reports come out where somebody ran up in his apartment and went after his wife. Well, they didn't go after his wife. The guy asked, is Do Kwon there? She said, no, he left. Right. But what's most important is that this is a ripple effect, okay? Because like they said, they plan to have all of this stuff launched by 2024. What are they launching in South Korea by 2024? Institutionalized cryptocurrencies, guys. Let's just look at the quick, fast facts. That's why I love forecast news. But Yoon's administration intends to develop a bill for the Digital Asset Basic Act this year. The Yoon administration confirmed the validity of the leak, but added the draft is not a final copy of the bill. The draft includes measures to protect investors and stabilize transactions by regulating the issuance, listing, and market activities of digital assets, including non-fungible tokens. South Korea officially made NFTs legal property. They picked the perfect time to do that. But guys, I got one more for you. Talked about the Digital Asset Basic Act, right? Well, let's take a look at that leak. I had to go overseas, guys, straight to the Korean news, news.kmib, and use my Google Translate, the power of Google Translate. And oh boy, here is where it all comes together. The new government has prepared an implementation plan to enact the Digital Asset Basics Act next year and implement it in 2024. This includes the incorporations of virtual assets, such as cryptocurrencies, into the institutional system. In addition, they decide to review next year's revision of the Bank of Korea Act to introduce central bank digital currencies. Now, one, I still owe you guys that report. It is on the way. Two, this illustrates the relationship between crypto and CBDCs. They will play off of each other, guys. But of course, we got to work the kinks out. According to the National Task Implementation Plan of the Presidential Takeover Committee obtained by Kukamin on the 11th, the Yoon administration has set a policy to prepare a government plan for the Framework Act on Digital Assets within this year. Okay, so this one is coming in 2022 and have it enacted by law in 2023. The enactment of the framework on digital assets was included in the 110 national tasks, but it is the first time that an annual implementation plan has been made public. The 110 national tasks, that falls in line with what's coming down from the World Economic Forum, guys. Pretty much over there is a 20-year plan. They have a 20-year plan to completely revolutionize everything. All right. This is part of it. But the Yoon administration plans to actively participate in the National Assembly discussion for enacting digital asset frameworks this year and next year. Currently, the enactment of the basic law on digital assets is pending in the National Assembly. But apart from this, the government plans to create a government bill that reflects the regulatory discussions of international organizations and major countries. After the law is passed by the National Assembly by next year, 2023, sub-regulations such as related enforcement ordinances will be prepared in 2024 when this law is enforced. When enacting the framework on digital assets, the Bank of International Settlements, the Financial Stability Board, and the Regulatory Authority of the United States and the European Union will promote active cooperation and establishment of a cooperative system. Oh, wait a minute, guys. There's more. But you see what I'm getting at here. Along with the efforts to legislate, we will also prepare an infrastructure where investors can invest with confidence. In the process, virtual asset trading account issuing institutions are expected to expand. This includes KuCoin. This includes Binance. This also includes, ladies and gentlemen, crypto.com. This is what I mentioned this in the KuCoin video as being a major catalyst for a massive run up in KuCoin's price to get it to the same point as Binance. But there's another bank on this list that us HBAR holders are familiar with, and it's Shinhan Bank. They are also going to be expanding as part of this initiative. The rest of this just goes into the CBDCs, guys, and the decision to make NFTs as part of physical property. But we can see here, guys, that what we just saw with the Terra Luna crisis was a smaller piece to a larger puzzle. Okay, now we are closing in on the end, guys. We have been closing in. We are closing in on the end. I just want to show you this op-ed piece because, again, there is no Avengers level event like this It's not complete without an appearance from the World Economic Forum, the IMF, and Greenpeace, guys. And this article was written, let's go back up to the top here. Liam Akiba, right? Wanted to give you credit, brother. This is an excellent piece. But what I want to show you is what's going on and how this ties into the Bitcoin narrative. So last month, Greenpeace created a media campaign, which has been backed by the World Economic Forum, aimed at people outside of the crypto ecosystem. That's very crucial there. Aimed at people outside of the crypto ecosystem. So what we have here is a series of advertising campaigns being promoted towards people who don't have crypto apps on their phone. And trust me, they know. But the Clean Up Bitcoin campaign is soliciting for Bitcoin to change its consensus mechanism to proof of stake. This would explain why, and it's funny how they got that right there, but this Ripple thing, but this would explain why Chris Larson decided to step out and state that he was for this type of change. Now, the reasons they give is it's wasteful, consumes too much energy, so forth and so on. I haven't dug that much into Bitcoin's energy consumption, but I'm just going to go ahead out on a limb here and say that it's not it can't be that much. It can't be. And especially when you got people like Elon Musk building solar powered gigaplants to mine it, as well as the other alternative energy resources that can be used to mine Bitcoin. Right. We already know about that, guys. But what we are seeing here is instead of a proposal being introduced to the Bitcoin core developers, they are deciding to start misinformation marketing campaign instead of applying the proposal. That is going to be stronger than any proposal that they could put forth, because the proposals go towards the community, they've already attacked the community with the idea. The idea has been implanted in the community. And even if the core developers aren't aware of this campaign, when they go to enact this proposal or put it forward, the community has already been tarnished. That's how you get this code to change, guys. And they're looking to change it to proof of stake, which in and of itself carries a completely different, that's a whole different video. But it gets deeper, guys. Members of Congress, a group of U.S. regulators recently petitioned the EPA, claiming cryptocurrency facilities across the country are polluting communities and having an outsized contribution to greenhouse gas emissions. This is the narrative, and it's not based on anything. So what we are seeing coming out of that is the Bitcoin mining regulation, which would set a precedent that could affect companies such as Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and many others to a devastating effect. Now, just saw in New York, they enacted a law regulating Bitcoin mining. I believe it says that you really can't do it there without their permission, something like that, or you can't do it in the United States without New York's permission. But that's just one piece that we're seeing, guys. And then we go down here, World Economic Forum. Of course, we've all heard the slogan before, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy, right? But in 2017, the World Economic Forum sent out a tweet basically stating that in 2020, Bitcoin will consume more power than the world does today. Of course, that didn't come true, given that in 2018, global energy usage was around 23,000 terawatts. And in 2022, Bitcoin only used around 144. So, yeah, that will explain that, guys. But what we are seeing, again, are just small pieces to a much larger puzzle. And this Terra Luna incident was definitely a portion of that. Now, since then, guys, there's been more updates to come out. Of course, this is a situation with his wife. This is loop.markets, which is another community forum, community blog for Terra. Got some very good reads in there. Got some very good reads, guys. But this particular one I was reading, it talks about how people are coming into the fold, like Sam Bankman-Fried having an opinion and Binance's opinion, and how they would institute change and stuff like that. But at the same time, guys, you are the same characters that are running the platforms that were conducive to this event. Okay. So again, links will be down in the episode guide. You guys check that out, guys. But before I leave, let's first of all, let me show you this. Okay, I tweeted this out, but this is pretty much, we're not going to read through this. What it's saying basically is that Tron is repeating this. Tron is doing the exact same thing, guys, but because they have a little bit more money, I suppose, they're going to, get ahead of the game before the problem arises. So this is either about to go one of two ways for Tron. This is either going to pump Tron to the heights that Terra was. So what Terra was going to be, Tron is now going to be, or Tron will be the next catalyst because it's a decentralized stablecoin using an algorithmic programming and directly opposing USDC Circle, Binance, and US Tether. Okay. Again, links will be down in the guide. You guys read through that for yourself. Now, on the subject of Binance, we were talking about it this morning. Okay, 11:49 a.m. While I was grocery shopping, Binance comes out and states that BUSD is one of the only fully regulated, licensed, and fiat-backed stablecoins available. And this is very true, guys. I remember a little bit last year when we were talking about when we were going along with Binance and the Binance US separation. Around that time is when Binance USD got official. It got regulated. Not a lot of people talked about that, but here we are in the thick of the stablecoin wars, and their stablecoin was moving the majority of the liquidity during the event. It was catching most of the liquidity. So where we saw where all of this money was going, Binance was catching it all, making it fully regulated, and especially if once it got to anchor, it was no longer considered a debt. Then by the time they got to Binance, it was already gone. South Korea says they don't want to go after anybody unless they're money laundering. Well, look at the steps, guys. This money was laundered, and so many people paid the price for it. Okay, now we are about to go. We are about to go, guys. But before we do that, and I want to make sure, give me a moment. I want to make sure the internal sound is on for this one. All right. Share sound. We're going to go to about, what is this, 10 minutes in? Oh, man, there's so much game in this video. This is, okay, so guys, this was what I was talking about that was sent to me right at the end of me doing all this research. It just kind of like, boom. Okay. What we have here is the channel is XRP Quantum Finance Team. All right. It's a mouthful, but we have QSI and we got the host of the channel, and they are going over some of the evidence that QSI has gathered. Okay. This was actually from March 26th of this year. It's only got 17,000 views, and I personally do not think that's enough. But let me show you. Let's go into a little bit of what they broke down, guys.
Explanation. Case closed. All right, now let's go on to the next slide. Back to Stefan Huber. This is on October 1st, guys. I want you to pay so much attention to the timestamps right now, okay? On October 1st, and my assumption, Mel, please correct me if I'm wrong. When I pull up these tweets, it's based on my timeline, okay? So this would be 9:16 in the morning, Central Standard Time. And he writes, how do you think we'll hear, how do you think we will first hear about the end of the legal dispute apart from price before action, right? And he's got all these different poll answers in there, and it looks like the vast majority of the Twitter sphere said, okay, it's going to be a tweet from the Ripple heads right here. So the reason why I pull up 9:16 is because lo and behold, guys, I shit you not, there was a freaking press release by Ripple themselves that freaking day. Okay, so before I show it to you, I'm going to give you the proof, right? Because everyone's always going to go, what's the proof? What's the proof?
Mic drop.
You could have made that crap up. Okay, this is the Wayback Machine, guys. It has the actual link to the press release that I'm going to show you in just a second. So here it says, loading.
Okay, so you see what I'm talking about here. You guys see what I'm talking about. Yes. And she does go to show that press release. I posted the link to this video in the community tab. I'll put it in this episode guide. I'm just going to tell you, after going through all of this, I'm going to take a nap now. Okay. I'm just going to take a nap. So I hope I was able to answer some questions. I hope I was able to piece it all together for you guys. This is why they call it the Wild West. It's cutthroat. You got billion-dollar corporations playing with the hearts and minds and souls and pockets of people who are not on the same status. People who have no idea what the technology is, why the technology exists, or the people behind it. And all the parties involved, they just don't seem to care because the money keeps flowing, Bitcoin keeps pumping, protocols keep moving around, total value lock doesn't go anywhere. Partnerships keep occurring. All of these are great things, don't get me wrong, okay? But this Terra Luna situation, I want you guys to take away from it that it's not ever what it appears to be on the surface, okay? Let this really show you guys that. But with all this being stated, like I said, I need to go take a nap. So I hope you have a great day. Have a prosperous day. Most importantly, if that money is digital, so is the hustle. I'll see y'all in the next one.